Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
RTL SA.
Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
RTL SA.
And as usual on a Tuesday, we have Dave Romero joining us. Dave, what happened? You were in an office and now you're not.
Well, I'm standing outside the patio of the office.
Okay.
In the background, you can see Constantia Mountains and various vineyards. And so I think it's quite a beautiful setting.
What a place to live. What a place to live, Dave. Oh, man,
Yeah,
what
I
a
love
week,
it.
Dave. What a week. I tell you what. This COVID pandemic that we're going through, this fifth wave, we are now below 10% test positivity rate again today. Didn't even get off the ground.
No, and I think we did predict that each wave now it's just going to be milder and milder, and I think let's just call it the flu. It's just a flu.
I had a discussion with someone yesterday about it, and he was actually saying a bit of a conspiracy theorist to a certain degree, and he was saying that you cannot find stats about the flu prior to 2018. They're very difficult to find because he was saying that should you compare the deaths that took place with the flu before 2018 to the COVID deaths that are taking place now, it was actually non-comparable to a large degree. I don't know whether he's accurate in his assessment, but he's suggesting that COVID is no worse than the flu anyway, with regards to deaths and illness and things like that.
No, I don't think initially it was the same as the flu. I mean, obviously there were more deaths and so on. So, but now it's reached a stage where I think it's just a flu, and I think we just get on with our lives. You know, it's not causing strain on our health system, which is stuffed anyway. So, yeah, we must just move on now.
Dave, when I spoke to you this morning, and I said to you, "What are we going to talk about today?" Your immediate reaction and animated reaction was the fucking fuel price. It's scary. It really is scary what is going to happen in the next 24 hours.
I don't even know what to say. I think someone predicted last year we're going to hit 25. And here we are. It's just a knock-on effect on the economy is atrocious. And bearing in mind that not half, but I think about 40% of our fuel price is taxes. But it goes to a lot of it goes to the road accident fund. But you know what makes it even worse, Noel? And you know me, I'm an eternal optimist and a positive individual. What makes it worse is that the road accident fund, in which a lot of this money is going to, is a total mess. I think they can't. I stand to be corrected, but I think they don't know where 250 billion has gone. I think it's something staggering. So if I suppose in a way, if you think that the money is going to be utilized for good purposes, like the road accident fund and so on, fix roads and do that kind of activity, then I suppose it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you'll do it.
Yeah.
But our roads are so fucked up. And the road accident fund is a total mess. So this money is just going into the ANC scoundrels. That's where it's going. And it's fucking up the economy. And now I'm going to it's like a 20% increase in the fuel price. So just think about whatever you're paying for your petrol, and it's just going to be, you're going to increase the budget by 20%. It's crazy.
Well, last year, in 2021, the fuel price went up 40% in 12 months. That was a final stat last year.
It was
apparently.
nine in one shot, 20%.
And now in one shot 20%. Which I shudder to think that when we look at it at the end of this year, how much the fuel price would have increased just on this year. And then you take it in the last 5 years, how much it's increased. And I think we're going to be in over 100% by the end of this year.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Crazy. And yes, the Ukraine war has got all these factors come into play. There's no question about it. But, and the only problem is, like I said, if you don't get taxed, we must get the money from somewhere. So obviously, it just can't reduce the fuel levy and leave it as such, because then you decrease the amount of money that's available for the government. But again, the problem is that these scoundrels are just taking this money and just blowing it. It's not being. Our roads are not being fixed. They're not, and the road accident fund is in total mess. Like I said, the claims are horrendously in arrears. So where's this money actually going? And so so food prices are going to go up. Everything's going to go up. We're going to go into inflation, and to stop inflation from going out of control, the Reserve Bank's going to increase interest rates. Increase interest rates means the money that we borrow in our bonds are going to go up. It's a spiral.
Yeah. I don't know what the roads look like in Cape Town, where you are, but if you come to Durban, I kind of feel like the roads feel very similar to those of Mozambique. Some places non-existent. Dave, this cut that we've had in the last couple of months on these levies is set to expire this evening. Do you think it's time that government rips the Band-Aid off and we have this R3 increase that they are forecasting or something like that? Or do you think that government should give us another month or two to try and cushion the blow of this fuel increase, which is out of our control to a large degree?
Okay, so I'll answer your first question about the Cape Town roads. We've got magnificent roads. No, we truly have. I mean, our roads, except for the township, the townships are not being neglected a bit, but in the main, our roads are good. And the thing is that the government has not sprung into action after your disasters in KZN. And I read on social media that communities are crowdfunding and fixing their own roads with their own crowdfunding funds. So in terms of what you asked me about the government, I've got a very simple solution for you. Change the fucking government.
That's not really going to change
change this government.
But I don't know if that will change the impact of the oil price, for example, on our fuel price and things like that. Because as long as the nonsense is going on in Russia, Ukraine, and the dollar is volatile or whatever, that has a major and direct impact in our fuel cost, aside from the levies.
No, but okay. Yes, what you're saying is correct. But the amount of looting that's taking place in our country, if we have a government, like the Western Cape works. And why it works is because whatever money has been allocated to the Western Province and the municipalities they are run, in the main, the money's been utilized for the people. It's plowed back. The municipality, I mean, I go to Stellenbosch often. Stellenbosch, I mean, Stellenbosch works. Yeah, there's like 4 fire departments. All the fire departments have got proper trucks. The roads are in good condition. It's clean. You see dedicated municipal workers when during the middle of summer at 4 o'clock in the morning watching the gardens of the city so that there's no congestion. That small stuff like that. But I just read the book about the incidental mayor of Irvin Mashala's story when he was mayor, and what he uncovered when he stepped in as mayor of Joburg. It was horrendous what the ANC-led government in Joburg was doing. It's just horrendous, blatant. So 2024 we must vote these buggers out, and then what it will mean is this, that the amount of money that the country collects through levies, etc., will be applied properly. Then you don't mind paying it. That's the thing. You don't mind paying it if the money's being utilized properly.
Yeah. But I want to ask you now, from an economic perspective, SARS had a surplus last year, or they had a record intake of revenue. That's one thing. What are they using that money for one thing? Secondly, do you think that we could do away with fuel levies if, for example, we increased VAT by 1% or something like that?
I think my honest opinion is we wouldn't need to increase any levies if the funds are applied properly. That's my opinion. They had a record day. They had an excess of quite a bit, but then they utilized quite a portion of that to satisfy the public union, the unions that represent public representatives, and gave them an increase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our public wage bill is something that's a totally different discussion. That's ridiculous.
So I think a lot of it went there, and I don't know. I don't know where the surplus went, but it's.
So what about the idea of...
Again, I'm a very optimistic guy, but these guys must just go now, please.
So what about the idea of increasing VAT by 1%, for argument's sake, to
but who does that
pressure on the
impact?
levies?
The poor.
Yeah.
Who does that impact? So, so maybe, I suppose the softer target would be to increase sin tax. Like people like you that smoke, we should be taxed to the hills, maybe.
We're going to talk about that now.
And maybe that's an avenue. But I mean, you increase VAT, it affects the poor. If you increase your income tax, and people talking about wealth tax and taxing the wealthy more. Yeah, I suppose you could do that, but now I don't know if you saw the stats. How many millionaires have left the country, and they're going away?
Yeah.
So then your tax base gets decreased. So you need to find a proper balancing act, and unfortunately, it's not there. It's not there.
Well, Dave, we're going to take a little break now. When we come back, I want to talk about bad habits. And there's a reason why I suggested we discuss this today, and I will share that with you on the other side of this.
Own your piece of RTL by sponsoring a feature.
Burning topic. Bad Joke Friday. In other news, Power Play Trivia.
You will be helping keep RTL on air and building infrastructure for as little as
R300 per week.
Have your or your company's name associated with the fastest growing online radio station in the world.
The RTL SA Top 10. Your top three.
Contact RTL for more info on WhatsApp 064 134 0020 or email info@noeljohnson.co.za.
It's time to mass debate on RTL SA.
Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
RTL SA.
Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
RTL SA. You're listening to RTL SA.
Dave, this morning I said to you that I wanted to discuss bad habits, and this was in light of a few things that came up throughout the show today. One being 30 seconds that you'll never get back when I said the Japanese word kuchizamishi means the act of eating when you're not hungry. And then also being World No Tobacco Day today as well. I also thought that we could maybe discuss habits, because people have developed habits throughout their life, myself included, for example, like the smoking and things like that. What is it about habits that keep us attached to them, even when we know that they're not good for us?
Yeah, I suppose you have habits because you're comfortable in keeping a specific pattern, and it's very difficult to change a habit once you entrench in it for years, like smoking. You smoke because you want to smoke, and you enjoy smoking, and you keep the habit. And if you want to kick the habit for whatever the reason is, then it always starts with a decision. You first have to decide that I want to change it. And then normally the best way to kick a habit is to replace it with a good habit, a different habit. Okay. So it's pointless just trying to stop smoking and not replace it with another habit. And once you changed the habit after 21 days, then it becomes permanent. But so it's the initial 21 days which is a killer, and it's the most difficult part.
But just talking about smoking, and we're not just talking about smoking, we're talking about any habit, so to say. I've known people that have gone on to quit for years and come back and start again. For example, my father was one, he quit for something like 30 years and then picked up the habit again. My ex has quit many times and picked up the habit again. And we talk about lengthy times that they don't smoke. And I'm just using smoking as an example. I mean, we can use anything really, any bad habit that you have. Why do people, after those initial 21 days, like you spoke about, where you can break that habit, why do they come back to it 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years down the line?
Because they choose to. I mean, it's I know it sounds very simplistic, but we only got a few minutes, so I can't go into great detail. But you make, if you stop the habit, like say smoking, and 6 months around you start again, you made a choice to do that. I mean, you put the cigarette in your mouth and you lit it. It's a choice you made. You weren't out of control. It wasn't some power that possessed you and forced you to do that. You made a choice. It's all about choices. No, it's just choices. And people say, "Oh, I can't." Yes, I know. Of course, it's difficult. This is why, if you want to break a habit, you have to do it in a way that you replace it with something else. And I personally don't believe in these philosophies or these techniques where you say, okay, you slowly weighing yourself out of it. No, you stop. And you have to fight through the craving, you have to fight through all that. But you make a decision to stop, you stop.
I read a book by Dr. Phil a little while back, and he said in this book, and he was also talking about habits and things like this, and he said in this book, you will keep on doing it as long as the reward outweighs what I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but pretty much as long as you consider the reward more valuable than the negative connotation or the negative impact of this bad habit.
Exactly. That's why you have to replace it with something. You have to replace it with something that will give you a greater reward. Okay, so the satisfaction of smoking is that it calms you down, right? I mean, it stimulates. You create some form of calmness. All right. So if you decide to, and it's your own choice, if you decide to stop it, you have to then replace something that will also give you calmness, so that you don't have the urge that when something happens, when you're driving and someone cuts you off on the road, you look around for the smokes and you want to smoke again because you want to freak out. So you would have to replace it with something else. You can't just stop something without replacing it. Okay. I don't know what I mean. Some people find reward in having like a lollipop or some, something different. But just to stop and not replacing it is it's obviously more difficult. But when you want to stop, you stop. You just stop. Okay. And when the urges come and the cravings come, and that you have to fight through it. And again, you do it through a process where you replace it.
So, when you get these urges, what would your suggestion be? Would it be like getting a distraction? Like if I'm craving a cigarette right now, distract myself with something else, or watch a YouTube video or something like that. Just do something to keep your mind off it.
Yeah. So I don't know why we're picking on smoking per se, but
because it's World No Tobacco Day.
But it applies to everything else. I mean, no, you're a smoker, right? I mean, when you light up a cigarette, do you even think about it?
No.
Exactly. So it's not like it's instinctive that you do it now, right? I mean, okay. So you have to break. So you have to consciously then think about the fact that you do not want to do it anymore, and replace it by, I don't know, going for a walk, taking a lollipop. Okay, maybe I'll suggest sugar-free, because obviously sugar lollipops has also got other consequences. but you replace it with something, and replace that instinct. I know, for instance, when I've had a few drinks, I want to have a cigarette. I consciously want to have it. It's not like an instinct, and I can choose whether I'm going to have one or not. So I can have choice. But if you smoke out of habit, you reach a point where you don't even think about it. It's just automatic. Where every half an hour you decide you're going to light a cigarette, and it's instinctive. You have to break that cycle if you want to, and the only way to do this is by replacement with something else. In my case,
philosophy.
I don't drink more than if I feel that I don't want to have one. I know that after 3 drinks I'm not going to light a cigarette, so then I'll stop at 2.
Yeah. But that takes a lot of self-discipline, though. And I think maybe self-discipline is a different topic, but it weighs in heavily when it comes to making decisions to change habits and things like that.
Well, everything in life requires discipline, right? I mean, if I go to the example of you in the road and somebody cuts you off, it takes discipline not to lash out. We are not barbarians. We are people that can control our mind and our impulses. The problem is that we don't want to. And that is a fundamental problem. We don't want to control it. It's easier just to let it go. And until we learn to control our mind and our impulses, that's when things change in our lives. When we just follow our impulses, our urges, and just carry them out, that's where we're not in control.
Well, I think if you want to replace the habit of smoking with anything, maybe you can take that money that you would have spent on cigarettes and put fuel in your car. Make that your new habit. Every time you want to smoke, go to the garage and put fuel in your car. That'll help you quit quickly. Dave, the big question at the moment is the power play trivia question. And you've had a lean run in recent times. You always look away and shake your head.
No, don't. I'm telling you now, if you give me another movie question, I'm no longer going to be on the show.
Oh dear.
Another movie question. Oh my heavens.
I don't know what it is about
Why
Tuesdays,
is it always
but
about movies, for heaven's sake?
only on Tuesdays. I don't know why. Tuesdays I just choose movie questions.
Hopefully I'll know this one. Let's see.
Okay. Well, the movie was a 2018 movie. I guess it wasn't that long ago.
2018. Okay.
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 And there were two very big songs that came from the said movie. And the movie starred Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. And in the movie, Bradley Cooper dies. Spoiler alert. What was the name of that movie?
2018. 2018.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Well, you know
I
what?
don't know.
In your defense, you spend a lot of time reading and not so much watching movies.
Oh, thank you. It makes me feel better. Yeah.
How many books do you read in a month now? Your target is 4 books a month.
How many books I read? The month of May, I've read 7.
7 books. No time for movies there.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I got correct.
Watch movies. What the hell? I don't watch movies.
I got correct answers from Lauren, Bev, Marius, and Cheryl. And the correct answer, Dave, was A Star is Born, which featured Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. It was a big movie, won an Academy Award. And I'm going to play you the trailer now, just so that you can sort of get an idea of what the movie's all about. Dave, we'll catch you next week, Tuesday. Have a wonderful week.
Tuesday Talks on RTL SA. Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.